South Africa, the continent's most industrialized economy, finished the year 2025 on the bright side as the country's currency, the rand, gained on the dollar, stocks jumped on the GSE, resource prices rallied strongly last year, even as the country managed to resolve its naughty electricity crisis of 2023 and 2024. Joining me to discuss this and what the investment outlook is for the new year is Chris Hart, the executive chairman at Impact Africa Investment in Johannesburg. It's great to have you tonight on the show.
Good evening, yes.
Thank you so much. It's good to see you in the new year. It's very surprising, somewhat, with all the crisis of 2023 and 2024. How did South Africa manage to finish 2025 on a bit of an economic upside with a rally in the local currency, the stock market, and resolving the energy crisis with Eskom?
I think basically you could say the suspension of load shedding as far as Eskom is concerned has certainly helped the economy in the second half of last year, and that has improved sentiment somewhat in the economy. And I think the record gold and platinum prices also improving sentiment. That's helping to underpin the economy. There are, and I think the relative stability of the GNU in politics has also helped stabilize it. We've seen the strength of the rand is one of the reasons why we've got such a positive, relatively positive outlook at the moment. There are worrying signs. The ANC recently, that's the ruling party, that's the biggest party in the government of national unity, had an interesting birthday celebration where they took quite a radical turn, especially with the expropriation without competition, without compensation. They doubled down on that, and I think that's one of those factors that's going to weigh down on the economy this next year. But precious metal prices is going to buoy the economy. So there's different forces coming in. You could say dirty laundry that's coming out in politics with the commission of inquiry into criminality in the police is also something that's going to commence fairly shortly, and that's going to weigh heavily. South Africa has local elections for the local authorities, the big metros and towns and cities in South Africa. That's later this year. The actual date hasn't been announced yet, but it's expected to be around October, November this year. And there's going to be a very interesting results, for the ruling party. I think they are very concerned about that. The by-elections that we've been having in the past year or two have really indicated a further swing away from the ruling party, and it may well be in the large metros, or a number of the large metros, that the ANC may be relegated to second or even third place. I think in the case of Durban, even fourth place, which is a huge come down just from a few years ago.
So I'm sure there are unfinished business of 2025, like the elections you're talking about being carried into the new year. What's the outlook from business and investment executives such as your good self on the new year 2026?
Well, I think at grassroots level, there seems to be a different energy in the economy. I'm quite encouraged. We're involved in the SME sector. And I think there is a newfound energy. I think the fact that South Africa has been lifted off the grey list has helped to shake capital, especially from Europe. I think the diplomatic problems that South Africa has with the US is going to cloud the economy. I've said this previously, and unfortunately the government, or the ANC specifically, is looking more to the BRICS, China and Iran as their key allies. And it's, from a trade point of view, if I could put it simply, when one trades with the US, you open factories, and when you trade with China, you close factories. And I think from a point of view of the actual industrial base in South Africa, we actually do need the US relationship, and we do need access to AGOA, and yet politically they are really blowing it at the moment. I think the senators, both the Senate and the House, is looking at possible sanctions against South Africa because of their relationship with Iran and the court case with Russia. The military exercises that are happening now, I think, are also a diplomatic blunder in terms of trying to tread carefully. South Africa's got to tread carefully in terms of on the diplomatic front, in terms of the international relationship, and yet it seems to be throwing caution to the wind. And sort of like almost a YOLO, you only live once, and sort of let's see what happens. But it's not useful for the country as such. So there's a number of wild cards and dark horses, but there is an underlying platform that South Africa could do relatively well, especially if we get changes in their local governments and an improved performance of service delivery as a consequence of that.
So broadly speaking, from investment horizon, do you see more investment flow into South Africa this year more than what we had last year? Because some of the naughty issues are being resolved despite the political issues that we have on ground. And of course, geopolitics firing from the United States, the Venezuela, the Middle East, China, Taiwan, all of that.
Yes. Well, we've got a bit of a conundrum. The economy from a GDP per capita point of view has really been in the doldrums. We've been in a downward trend on a GDP per capita basis since 2008. And that was quite a critical year. It was like a switch in the economy. And we won't go into that now, but it's really been an extended, almost, as I say, certainly more than a decade, or in fact, almost 2 decades, where South Africa has really languished from that point of view. Yet on the contrast, the financial markets are really pumping at the moment. And the JSE is at record levels, the gold price is at record level, bond yields are coming down. We're seeing inflation come down and interest rate cycle reduction, and certainly that's helping to underpin. But on the other side, households are very indebted. The unemployment rate is not coming down, and the economic growth is really not able to breach the 1% mark for many years now. Certainly on average below 1%, which is really not good enough when you look at population growth.
Yes, I agree with you. Doing less than 1% for a company most advanced in terms of industrialization and all that is a lot to worry about over a period of time. All right, we're grateful for your time on the RS Exchange as always.